So I have been curious about this concept of truth lately, and I would love your input. To me, truth is something that lays buried within us. It's something that we barely ever are willing to look at in our lives, even when we think that we are living truthfully or that we are in touch with our own truth. I personally have thought that I'm advanced enough in my self-analysis to have moved on to a level where I see, even when when there are things that I don't like about what's going on with me, or things that I'm not happy with about my character, let's say, I'm able to still see them, even, at least to myself. But I think that there's a lot that we don't see that lies beneath the surface, and we continuously live in a state of denial almost. So I think one example that I can use from my own life would be interesting to analyze if you are inclined to get into a dialogue about it. So I have a dog that is turning 3 years this February, and I've decided to feed her raw. So it's raw mix of muscle meat, organs, bones, and then additional like raw eggs and some kefir and stuff like that I give her. But for the most part, she eats raw. And people, for some reason, have varying reactions to it. But what's interesting to me is I am primarily a vegetarian, and I was vegan for a little while for ethical reasons, meaning that I am strongly against factory farming. I am not necessarily against small family farms where the animals are taken care of and then are slaughtered for meat. That's where I try to get my dog's food from, but sometimes I get it from the supermarket because I run out, something like that. And I prefer to cut up her food with my hands on my own, instead of like buying a pre-made mix. And that is because specifically for me, I mean, people do it for varying reasons, to know where the food is coming from, like to see like the meat is good quality, that it isn't like that it is what they say it is, because it's pre-mixed, so you can't really tell what they put in there. But I prefer, because I actually like to challenge myself in various ways in my life. So in this case, I am challenging myself to be, I guess, in touch with or connected to the food that I am providing for my dog. And so even though it is a dead animal, and I feel very like it doesn't give me any sort of pleasure to dig my hands through this meat and organs and blood, I feel a little uncomfortable doing it because I know that this animal died, I guess. But for the sake of my dog, it's worth it for me. And so to me, the truth in this is that for my previous dog, I used to buy canned food, so like to avoid, I guess, seeing the meat, or because I used to just avoid it completely. I never ate it myself. And so to avoid like being in touch with meat, I would just like open a can and dump it in her bowl. And I think that it's like, no, I mean, I knew that there was meat in it, and I knew that there were organs mixed in and stuff, but it was like prepared somewhere else away from me. Whereas now I am in the midst of it, and that forces me not to be in any kind of denial about what my dog is eating, that my dog is eating a dead animal. And like on a spiritual level, for me personally, and I'm not trying to impose my views on anyone, but just for me personally, on a spiritual level, I have this like sense of gratitude to the animal that died, even though it's like we take it for granted. We go to the store, we buy meat like it's food, as opposed to like it's a dead animal. I mean, we don't, like we try to dress up concepts in our society in a way that make us feel comfortable. And another example, I guess, to me would be that we are a lot less likely to care about how farm animals are kept than we are about how our domesticated, dogs and cats and furry animals are kept. We also usually people react with shock when they find out that someone, let's say, in some culture or some person consumed a dog or a cat. It is done, but in our culture, in the West, the US, it's seen as this like shocking thing, and you're sitting there like chewing on a bone, on a chicken leg or a rib, and you're like, oh, they eat dogs. Like, it's, to me, it's hypocrisy. But so that's the truth I'm talking about, and I am curious to know whether this resonates with you, and if you have other examples of how you address this concept of truth in your life, or whether you think about it at all, whether you grapple with it on another level. I'm curious to know.